Hey everyone, welcome to our Sett Full Gameplay Jungle tutorial. Before we start, let's first talk about these items and runes. Currently, this is the ideal standard setup and feel free to use this as your build. For better understanding, I will explain the reason on why this is my personal setup. So going to the items, the first item that you will build is Black Cleaver, since this is very cost efficient and something that you could easily buy before the first dragon. This is also one of the best bruiser items there is. Gives HP, damage, ability haste, passive that increases your move speed, as well as reduces the opponent's armor, which you could easily proc based on his kit. Then the next item that you could go for is the steel-plated Protabelt. This could be the Mercury Threads Protabelt as well, depending on your opponent. If they have a lot of crowd control, you go for the Mercury's Protabelt. If they have a lot of physical damage, you could go for the plated steel caps Protabelt. But another alternative, if you're the only tank and you really need the front, and if you're kind of behind, you could go for the stone plate, since this is a good item synergy with your second skill. So I prefer the Protabelt since it has more playmaking potential. You can make a lot more plays, but if you're behind or you just want to tank the enemy, you could go for the steel-plated stone plate. The next item that you would go for is the Divine Sunder. Divine Sunder, really good synergy with Black Cleaver since they both give HP, damage, ability haste, and more damage. Divine Sunder has a Spell Blade passive, which Sett can easily proc. Since his skills are in a fairly short cooldown, you could get his Divine Sunder procs a lot easier. Then the next item that we would go for is the Sterac's Gauge. Sterac's Gauge essentially gives him more HP and damage and a passive shield. And what this does is that it gives Sett a double shield. So shield from the Sterac's Gauge, and the second shield is from his second skill when he has a lot of when his grit is at max stacks. Another item that you could go for, if you would want to go for a more offensive route, you could go for Death's Dance. So Death's Dance is a more offensive item as compared to Sterac's, since the effectiveness of this item is when you get reset. So if you think that you could easily burst one of the opponents, you could go for the Death's Dance, since this will put your HP back really quick, relatively quickly with its passive. Then the next item that you could go for is Warmog's Armor. The reason I go for Warmog's is that this gives a lot of HP and a lot of regen, which is good for Sett's kit. For his passive, basically he will have a double regen when out of combat. So when you're going inside the team fight, you get your HP low because of you want to proc your second skill as soon as possible. You go out of the team fight, you regen relatively quickly, and then you're basically a walking fountain. You can easily go back into the fight without going back to the fountain, and Sett doesn't need mana. Then the last item that we would go for is Randuin's Omen. This is more for against more AD-centric matchups like Jhin, Miss Fortune, Kai'Sa, Yasuo. Randuin's Omen would be a very good pick here. But if they have a more AP-centric lineup, you could go for Force of Nature. If you're against the likes of Orianna, Ziggs, Diana, those types of champions, Force of Nature would be a very good pick. So the last three items are interchangeable with Death's Dance, Force of Nature, Randuin. So it's up to you on how you want to build it. Then going to the runes that we go for is Conqueror, basic rune, since we could easily stack this and proc the max stacks. Next rune we go for Triumph. This is really good for his kit since his build has a lot of HP items. If you're able to get a kill, a lot of HP, you will get a lot of HP back. And this will increase your sustainability in a team fight. Next, we go for Hunter Titan. This could be replaced with Conditioning or Second Wind, depending on the type of opponents that you have. So if your opponents have a lot of CC like Morgana, Leona, Jhin, you could go for the Hunter Titan. But if they have not much crowd control, you could go for the Conditioning for the more scaling on your tank items, since you don't have a lot of armor MR in your build. This could help offset the lack of armor MR in the early game. And then the last that we would go for is Pathfinder, basic rune for junglers, really good for roaming and clearing the jungle. This is a general jungle rune for everyone. So that's it for our items to build, and with that, let's get into the game. going to the game, this is where I will teach you the tips and tricks, do's and don'ts, and advantages, disadvantages of jungle Sett. So currently, we're up against Rengar, and a Sett versus Rengar matchup. It is slightly favored towards Rengar, but once we get our items, this will be a really easy fight for us since Rengar relies more on a burst damage, and we have a lot of sustain in our kit. We have our second skill to negate his burst damage. So in this game, what we're doing here is a red side clear, where we go for our red buff, golems, and then raptors. Then we go flex, where we would go next. So when clearing the jungle, take note, you always want to use your passive, which has an automatic two hits. So you would like to do autos first, so you could have a auto attack animation cancel, which would help your clear become a bit faster. So Sett's clear is not the worst in the world. It's decent, it's normal, it's average for a jungler. Then the next skill that we go here is our second skill. Once we go low on HP, you would use your second for more shield as well as more damage. So auto first, then auto again. So decent clear, and always look at the map while you're clearing the jungle. So currently what I'm seeing here is that mid is pushing in, our bot is slightly in a lead, and our top is even based on the lane states. So we go for our third skill here. This helps us with our duel. If you would like to go for a level 4 clear, you could go level 2 first. I see Tryndamere overextend in the mid lane, so I try to go for him. Our first skill increases our move speed. Third skill forces flash. Kill is able to flash and help us well. He's able to kill the Tryndamere. Rengar's at the scuttler, and our duel is pretty strong. Kill goes down, but we're still up. Rengar, even though he has a strong dual kit, we have our second skill to have a bit of a shield, and we take down the Rengar as well. So we were slightly favored in the 2v2 since Tryndamere didn't have much HP, and we're able to get a 2-for-1 trade. So Rengar takes the top scut, we go for the bottom scut, and Riven has a lead advantage over Darius as well. So things are looking great so far in this game. Use our smite, we get our ulti. I see Darius chasing the Riven. I missed my second skill, but Riven decides to all in, so I need to go with her. I wanted to go back. I have my ulti. Darius only level 3. We're able to get the Darius. Rengar's level 5. I use my second skill to try to cancel his burst, but his kit is way better, so I get low. If I'm able to dodge the third skill, most likely he would die, since he got the level up and the triumph proc. So it was a close one, but they were able to get a trade. A bit greedy for us to all in on the bot side. If I hit my third skill, it would have been an easy kill. So once I regen, I still have a good lead. Kill goes down in the mid lane, so I need to cover mid. There's quite a lot of CS, so we take those first. And then we resume and go back to our jungle. So top side is still up. Our bot side is quite strong, so I would like to get the red first. I go for the raptors while waiting for red to respawn. Clear the jungle. Our top side goes down. I think Jhin is gonna get a counter kill on the top. Yes, he gets the Leona. But Rengar might be there since his red already has spawned. So one thing to note when you're playing jungle is tracking the opposing jungler. And if you have no vision on where the opposing jungler is, one way to note where he is by checking when your buffs will spawn. So most, if not all, junglers always start at the red buff. So if your red spawns, his red is also up. So Riven Darius having an all-in. I just go in and swipe a kill because Riven is really low. He's able to live as well. We get another kill on the Darius. And this is an advantage for us. So we get our Black Cleaver. Perfect time for the first dragon. Lulu gets out of position. They're able to kill the Lulu, which would make this a 4v5. But Lulu's respawn is quite fast. So if I'm able to buy enough time, I would be able to get to the dragon. So while waiting for the Lulu, I try to clear my camps. I kill the blue. Since they're starting dragon, I buy time. I use my third skill. I have my second skill to buy even more time. Then I ulti Leona. I flash out. So I'm able to buy enough time. I'm able to buy time for my team. Lulu's able to come. And I have my passive, which would help my HP go back. So I could still come back in the team fight. I see them quite low. I try to dodge the skills. I see Ziggs out of position. He's able to escape. So I try to dodge the skills again. I still have my passive proccing. Dragon is low, so I try to start Dragon. Lulu gets a heal. Rengar flashes in, but he fails the miscalculates because Dragon had a reset. So this gives us time. So I have my second skill. I combine it with my smite. So even though I go down, the clash is so long that they're able to respawn. I'm able to secure the dragon. I'm able to get kills. And that's what's really strong about Sett, is that you cannot burst Sett easily because of his second skill. And he has a lot of playmaking abilities. So we get a really good clash. Even though we go down, it's really worth for us. We're able to secure a lot. And the next item we go for is the Proto Belt. I'm looking for my Sunder. Herald is still up. I will be going there. I have all my skills. I don't have flash, but I'm quite strong right now based on the game state. So looking for the Herald. I see it's half HP. I leave the Raptors. Riven forces the team fight. Darius not able to get the reset. I have my second skill. I'm able to get a 3-man second skill as well as an ulti. Kale gets a great ulti with me. I'm getting really low. I smite the Herald. I steal it. And I still have HP with my Triumph and my second skill as well. So I'm able to use my second skill twice. And I'm able to get a lot of Triumph procs. So we're able to turn the team fight around even though Riven died early. So which shows how strong Sett is right now in the meta. Got another early lead. We buy components for Divine Sunder. I was thinking of pushing bot, but I decided to just go back. I wanted to go for the Darius one more time. Before I do that, I first take the red buff. So after taking the red, I'm looking for what's happening in the map. I see Rengar in the mid lane. I think he's able to ulti that Kale. Rengar gets scaled down, but I wouldn't be able to chase him. So I just take the Raptors instead. And I will more probably cover mid. So Riven takes a cut. I go for the mid since I don't want the mid to go down. I'm quite strong, so I could face Tryndamere. Tryndamere still has a lot of damage, so I can't all-in Tryndamere because he has ulti. Even though I'm able to get a second skill proc on him, I wouldn't be able to bring Tryndamere down. So looking for a play, I go for the top side since Ziggs is half HP. We try to look for the dive. I have my Herald. We could easily dive this. Even though I see Rengar, Proto Belt, do my ulti. I burst Ziggs. My second skill is not able to put him down, but Jhin is able to ult freely. They're really low. Jin's able to get a kill onto the Leona, and we're able to get a tower. So even though we're only able to get one kill, it's okay. Rengar, Sett second skill plus Lulu ulti, really strong damage. So we go back, get the first tower. My team wants to push, so I try to shadow them and try to get a second push on the Herald. I zone Tryndamere. Okay, Herald gets a second charge, but and this is good for us. So no more problem. We have our Divine Sunder, second item, more damage, more sustain. All good. So third item I'm going here is the Stark's Gauge. If you look at our lineup, we have no frontline, so I'm going for the frontline build. Frontline slash tanky build. And going for Wolves, I think. Yes, after I clear my camps, I always want to clear my camps. Nothing's happening in the map. I look for the mid. Kale's able to get a poke. So I just want to protect the skill. If they go all in, I can easily ulti them away from Kale and protect my carries. Then I see Darius extended bot. I'm quite confident that 2v2. Rengar uses ulti. I see Rengar. We burn the ulti. I want them to force an engage on me since I have a lot of sustain, and this would be good since if my Ribbon is able to free hit, then we would easily win the team fight. So I clear again my camps, look for an opportunity. Dragon is up. We go for the setup. I have a lot of survivability. Second skill, I have Lulu ult, Kill ult as well if needed. So I'm not scared to face check the opponents. So they look for the Riven. Riven's able to go out, and I see that they want to go for a trade on the bot side, so we take the easy dragon. And this is no problem for us because even though they're able to stall the game, we have a Kale for our late game. And for me, our team fight is a bit stronger than theirs. So I'm looking for a play. What I want here is to Proto Belt E-flash the Ziggs. So I'm telling them to stay mid. I'm waiting for the next wave. So I Protobelt E-flash ulti to get the Ziggs away into the Jhin traps. And that's why Protobelt is really good for Sett. You could do plays like that without them being able to react. So we take the tower. Herald is up. And this will most likely be uncontested since we have since it's a 4v5. So they will be looking for another trade. Rengar and Darius is on the top side. So a while ago they found the dragon trade on the bot side. Now they're going for the top side, taking our first tower. We wouldn't be able to prevent. Jhin is there. I think he'll try to prevent, but he's alone, so he's out of position, and they actually get a good trade out of it. So 1-for-1, tower for Herald. So this will depend on how I will be able to use my the Herald. So Riven finds Darius. I think Darius will most likely die, so I don't go there. I see Leona going to the top side, so I go top side as well instead of helping the Kayle. They see me. Darius is already down, so there's no problem. I just cover the Riven. I deward, and then look for the next play that I can do. So every time I have Protobelt and ulti, I always try to look for a play so I could catch the squishy target. So Sett is one of the few champions that could do who can easily catch squishy targets that overextend, such as Ziggs, Jhin, and the like. So I look for the Scuttler. Scuttler spawn in the bot side. I clear the Scut. I see Tryndamere. So I just smite it. I try to force Trynd the skills. I Protobelt. I want to force his ulti, but he's just able to run away. So I look for the buffs. So we always look, if we're done clearing our jungle, we clear their jungle, so we deny resources and get more money for ourselves. Ziggs gets a good ulti. I think he secures the blue. Yeah, he secures the blue. Unlucky, I should have just I didn't have smite there yet, but it's okay. So we have our Sterak's, which is another HP item. So we have double shields now with our second skill and our Sterak's proc. Kayle gets caught on the bot side, but we catch Tryndamere on the top side. He's not able to use the ulti. Even though he's able to use the ulti, we have a lot of crowd control in order to be able to lock down Tryndamere. So what's the next thing that I'm doing here right now is covering the lanes that don't have a champion in them. So no one's at mid, so I cover mid first since Kayle is down. I just want our Kayle to scale. I'm waiting for our Kayle to get items, and my flash is up. I have Protobelt, I have ulti. You know the drill. So most likely I would be going for a catch onto someone. So Darius is out of position. Tries to push the bottom lane. Since he has Hullbreaker, this is the weakness of Hullbreaker champions. You could easily catch them in side lane. Gets a flash out, Protobelt out. I'm not able to third him, and most likely he would be able to escape. So Rengar gets a catch in the mid. So this is a good trade for them. So I'm forced to go to the mid to cover the lane, and I think Rengar gets a tower. So instead of a 1-for-1 trade, Darius gets away and our Jhin gets caught. So we next objective is spawning. This will be a 4v5, but I think I'm pretty confident. I have a lot of survivability and a lot of damage as well. I'm pretty ahead in the game, so even though it's a 4v5, we could go for the dragon. And the moment I see Darius, I just start the dragon because we would basically win the 4v4 in a 4v in this type of team fight. So Tryndamere tries to steal the dragon. I don't know why, since he's a mid laner, but you know, people do crazy things. And what we're looking now is going for the Baron. We have a slow push Herald on the top side. We're looking for the Darius. So we see Tryndamere looking for the possibility to start a Baron, but the problem is our opponent is Rengar. If Rengar uses ulti, he could easily see us, even though we have a lot of vision and we wouldn't be able to see him. So try to prevent the throw. Rengar, yeah, as expected, Rengar uses ulti, he catches the Lulu out, and the only problem here in this game is that our team is getting caught out. So now it's a 3v5. The Rengar is playing pretty well. They're catching out squishy targets as well, since our lineup is kinda squishy, and our team excels more on team fights rather than split pushing. So the opponents, I think, in a 3v5 situation, they're looking for the Baron. I try to check, but I only see Ziggs. Rengar is there, so I just want to buy time. I see Ziggs, I catch Ziggs. They want to make this a 3v4, so easily take Ziggs out. I'm pretty tanky. I look for the Rengar because he's the key damage dealer, but I'm not able to catch since Tryndamere Leona is stopping me. We get the Tryndamere ulti, we get the Rengar, and you see my double shield. We're able to win the team fight pretty easily, even though we were outnumbered 3 versus 4. So Baron is up, our team is up, and this will be an easy take for us. Darius is pushing top, but it's okay. Once we get the Baron, we could push all of the lanes and take down all of the towers. And my HP is full again, which shows how strong Sett's passive is. So I get my Warmogs. I look at their lineup. I check what's the nice item to get. So I think I will go for the Deadman's here. But another thing that I could go for is Randuin. But Deadman's is more versatile overall, since this gives me a lot of more move speed and makes me be able to catch out their squishy targets a lot easier. So what I'm always looking for is I'm trying to look for the Ziggs or Rengar and try to Protobell third flash ulti into my team. So we have Baron, so most likely we should stick together and try to prevent Rengar from individually taking us out. I go for the front. Rengar finds kill on the top side. I try to force a team fight. Leona gets a third skill. We're able to get a trade. Kill surprisingly gets Rengar away. So Riven goes in. I'm able to tank both the towers. I have a lot of HP, and we get another kill. We easily win the team fight. We win team fights when we're together. Darius is split pushing bot since he has Hullbreaker. He just decides to not come, and we end the game. So this shows on how strong Sett is, and hopefully you guys enjoyed how I used this champion. Before I go, there are 3 tips that I would like to share with you when playing Sett. My first tip is his second skill usage. Always look at your stacks and positioning when using his second skill. You could also use second flash in order to catch people off guard because it is pretty easy to dodge it in a 1v1 situation. My second tip is his ultimate. His ulti can be used for multiple things. It can be used on enemy frontline and damage their whole team. It could be used to zone the enemy carry or even peel for your own carry. Look for situations where you could use this optimally. My third tip is timing combos correctly. Always try to auto before using a skill to know which combo to use when it comes to the team fights. The most basic combo is his ult, third, second combo to crowd control and deal damage as much as possible. There are so many combos that Sett could use, it all depends on the proper usage and timing. And that is it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to be updated on the latest content. Feel free to leave a comment if I missed anything and what champion you would like to see next. Thanks for watching. Ciao, ciao.